Welcome to Sunday Check-In. I'm Christina.
I'm Joel, and today we're going to be talking about routines in a marriage relationship. Not just how they happen, but how to try to avoid them. So, not just discussing the problem, but also trying to get a solution. One thing that, as we were having this conversation, that kind of stuck out to me was I didn't realize how much the routines that took place outside of the home impacted the routines inside of the home. So as some examples that we discussed earlier, you got to get up at a certain time to make sure the kids are at school. If you're working at a location outside of your home, you got to make sure you're at this location at a specific time. Then you got to get to where you pick up the kids. And if they have extracurricular activities, you got to make sure they're at these activities at a certain time. So your day is already planned out before you even wake up. So it's hard to avoid those routines in that scenario. But I never realized that it impacts your personal life. You know, your outside impacts your personal so much.
Yeah, I guess I never really had the thought of, do routines happen when you get married? So when we went into a routine, I was so confused on why are we in this routine? And it's crazy because now that we've been at home lately, I see how much we're really in routine and how much I took the things that we did as a routine, like when you leave out the door, give your spouse a kiss or a hug or text throughout the day to see if they're okay. How much we don't do that now because we are together all the time. So before we may have text each other as a routine, like, let me check, let me not check in, but let me check with my significant other, see if they're okay. Where now, since we both work from home right now, we don't check on each other to see.
You're right there. I can hear you. I don't need to talk to you.
And so I didn't know. I didn't expect it at all. And I wonder if I would have gone into it a little bit differently, or maybe had a different mindset if I would have been expecting that once you get married, routines do happen, especially when the kids start to grow up, because like Joel was saying, they have their own lives too, and you're responsible for taking them so that they can do their life. And so I know, like, for me, that was kind of difficult, and that was some questions that I asked my circle of couple friends, like, that was actually one of the first meeting topics. How do you, when you are in that routine, what do you do to get yourself out? Because I had no idea where to go because it came out of surprise.
Yeah. And that combined with COVID-19 was a recipe for disaster because it didn't allow for the simple things like if you want to go somewhere in public together without the children, now you got to figure out, well, where can the kids go where they can be safe? Where can we go where people are allowed to congregate, where we can also make sure that we're safe? So it made it real difficult to figure that out over these last several months. But I still think that there is hope. I think that a big part of it is figuring out some hobbies. And I'll say this too, and I'll speak for me. One of the most important things that I picked up, I feel, was all the gardening stuff, because it gave me a time to escape, just to be by myself, enjoy something that I wanted to do, and kind of see the fruits of my labor. So that was beneficial. And I think that might be a very underrated thing in relationships, is finding something that you really enjoy doing, that not something that takes you completely away from your family, because they're still just as important as your happiness, theirs as well. But finding something that you can do that gives you time by yourself, so you can recharge and be not just mentally but emotionally capable of trying to get out of those routines. Because if I'm at the point where I'm like, whatever, routines don't matter. I'm just gonna go with it. So that's something that I would suggest to them.
Yeah. For me, what I had to do, I had to become very conscious of what I was in routine doing. So specifically, like I said, when Joel would leave out the house, we may give each other a hug or a kiss, like to say bye, be safe, whatever. And I had to make sure that I was aware of the moment that we were in. Like, I'm not just doing it because you're leaving. Like, I'm aware that you are you, and I want you to know that I love you.
Yeah.
And so I had to be more mentally aware of when I did give him affection, that I was aware that I can't get the words I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm saying, right?
get you.
Okay.
And it's funny too because one thing I noticed that it made it almost awkward.
Yes, it felt very weird.
It felt awkward because like you're so used to, oh, give me a hug, give me a kiss on the way out, and then you, like you said, you're right there. I don't need to talk to you because I can hear you. So we're not doing the hugging and the kissing as much as we used to.
Yes.
And we're again, it's a different routine.
It's a different routine. I didn't
It's
think
just
about
a brand
that.
new routine.
Mhm.
So like now when it's like
Bye.
it's kind of weird. So but those are all things that you can actually fix. It's just a
Yes.
matter of just doing it. You know, that's the way it was. That's the way it should be. So you just got to just start doing it again.
Yeah. You have any final thoughts?
Yes. It is not a routine that will be matching like this. This was an accident.
I got dressed first.
She did, and I was whatever. So it's not a routine.
My final thought would be just be aware of the routine. I didn't even think that we're in a whole nother routine right now of trying to not be in a routine, but just being willing to shake it up, you know. And I know it's a little bit difficult right now. It's becoming easier because things are opening up more and people are becoming more comfortable with, you know, leaving and doing stuff. But just be willing to shake it up, you know, doing different things that you don't expect, you know, or doing things for your spouse that your spouse doesn't expect, and vice versa. Vice
versa. And again, I think that's important. Making sure that you're catering to your spouse.
Yeah, and not what you want to do.
Yes. But at the same time, also finding your own space at the same time, because that also breaks up the monotony.
Yeah.
And it makes it where when you do kind of get back together, you're excited to be back together. It's like, I had my time, I enjoyed it, it was fun. Let me go see what Christina's doing. And then it's back to the...
Hey, this is weird.
So,
That's all I got.
that's it. Peace.